So we're good.
And I am streaming.
And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 151, recorded on October 18th, 2017. On tonight's episode, we discuss the huge Switch 4.0 system update that came out tonight, as well as some controversy surrounding Nintendo of America and a leak with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga and what that means for influencers, streamers, and YouTubers, and so much more. Zach, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is October 18th, 2017. Joining me tonight, playing a game that I don't even want to hear about, don't even talk about it a little bit, Justin Matt. What's going on, Justin?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, thanks. I am playing a game that everyone wants to play, but I shall not name what name it is, but it is good, and I am enjoying it. And if you do not hear me talk on the podcast, it's because I am playing said game. Speaking of a man who always talks on a podcast but never really has anything good to say, Jesse Waldack. How are you today, sir?
I don't know if I like this segue. I'm doing well.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Good, excellent. And of course, the man from the south, the mouth from the south, Mr. Marty Estes. Marty, what's going on today, buddy?
I am extremely jealous of you. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nintendo, for allowing Justin to have an excuse to zone out during the show.
And also beginning what may be the destruction of the Nintendo Dads.
Yes. Right on. Well, guys, we got a lot to talk about. And hey, Justin, do me a favor. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Do not upload said game to online.
I will not. I hear that is not a good thing to do. We have a very strict embargo about said thing, so I would not want to do that. But I do hear that that bad things happen if you do that early.
Yeah, and bad things happen to a lot of people. So maybe we should just get right into it, shall we?
We should. Do it.
And the news is brought to you by patreon.com/NintendoDads, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Just only $1 a month, guys. Like, that's it. And you can be a part of this Nintendo Dads magic, spreading the goodness throughout the world. So you guys are awesome. We have a ton of patrons already. Marty, do we have any new patrons this month?
We actually do. We have 4 new patrons this week. Chris Gentilello, Andy, Andrew Fontes, and Nick Metzger all joined us on Patreon this past week. And you know what they did, Zach?
What's that?
They helped, along with the rest of our patrons, push us past our next goal for Patreon.
Do I have a thing for that?
I hope you do. Like a one-up?
Wobble puppet? Wobble puppet?
Wobble Buffett?
Yep, there you go.
We got a live one right there. That was good. So if you haven't been listening or you're a new listener to Nintendo Dads, this new goal that we just reached on Patreon means that each month we will pick one of our patrons and we will gift them $50 in eShop credit.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to you want a new 3DS game? Would you like to purchase a new Switch game? Well, you can have one on us.
Every month.
Would you like to buy Super Mario Odyssey? I would recommend it. You should try it.
I don't think you're allowed.
But that's not a review because
you're not allowed to recommend it.
I would recommend it. I would hear it as a good experience from when I played it at EGX several weeks ago.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
God,
so here's the deal.
What you're talking about?
Here's the deal. We are going to draw a name out of our list of patrons once a month, and we will let you know before this happens. Even if you become a patron that day, you will be entered to win that eShop credit. But what happens is this. When you win said eShop credit, you will not be eligible for that eShop credit for a set period of time that we, the Nintendo Dads, have yet to discuss following that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of other important things that we check as well with that.
Right.
Yes, but even $1 a month can win it. Absolutely.
That's right. And so get excited. We're going to be drawing for that. We're also going to be sending out our October mystery merch pack of the month very soon to our $15 and up patrons. So if you're one of our $15 and up patrons and you have not won one of those yet, be watching your mailbox, your email box very soon. You might be getting something from us regarding your a prize here very soon.
But you might not.
But you might not. You may not.
It's all mystery. You never know.
Right. So exciting things going on over in Patreon land.
You're trying to sell the excitement. I'm like, yeah, but you might not win.
Yeah, I really like how you did that.
No, you didn't. It's okay. I'm sorry, Marty. It's a weird feeling. Weird. We already recorded one episode tonight, so I'm sorry. All right, but for real, it's really exciting and awesome. Yeah. My wife just sent me 3 texts in a row that said, important, please put the clothes in the dryer tonight or Nick won't have pants tomorrow.
And those are the true challenges that we face as parents.
Yeah. Hey, here's this. Hey Siri, remind me in an hour to turn the dryer on.
Okay, I turned the dryer on.
All right.
See, sure, I have the backwards problem. I told my daughter to get her clothes out of the dryer so I can move my stuff over, and she still hasn't done it.
There you go. See, that's real life jumping into this, which is what everybody tuned in for. All right.
That's right.
All right. So having said all of that, gentlemen, we got 2 big news stories tonight. The first one, let's lead with the one I already teased a little bit. There have been some very naughty reviewers, and it is causing a lot of trouble around. And here's the thing is that for once, I actually feel like we're the exception, and maybe we won't talk too much about that. Let's get into the story first. So basically,
this is a little bit of like industry insider baseball of what we're going to talk about right now.
It is absolutely, and however, it does absolutely affect you as well as listeners, as consumers of video game journalism and media. I wouldn't necessarily call what we do journalism so much as
entertainment.
Edutainment, is that what you just said? Entertainment, sure, that works too.
I like mine better. Entertainalism or whatever.
That sounds very
entertainment and journalism squished together.
That sounds close enough to titillating that I agree.
I was trying to avoid that.
So basically, what happened was one of the reviewers that in the United States who received a copy of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga thought it was a great idea to leak the game ROM online. So that
was not a good idea.
That was a terrible idea. That was a terrible idea for all sorts of reasons. But why would you think that was a good idea, like in the best of days?
It's like saying, hey, I really, really like this free stuff that you gave me because you trust me. But I'm going to show you how much you can't trust me by just giving it away.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, bank, thanks for this $5,000 loan. I'm going to go throw it out the window now.
Yeah. Like what? Like, first of all, go jump off a bridge, whoever did this. If you're listening to this show, like, what are you doing with your life? No, don't actually do that, because I'm a licensed mental health professional. I probably shouldn't tell people that. But having said that, go and rethink your life priorities and maybe go see a licensed mental health therapist or something. Just rethink your life in general, because that makes me really angry that they would do that. Having said that, so basically what this means is that apparently Nintendo of America has lost their collective shite over this. They are not.
But you can't blame them.
No, absolutely not. And here's the deal: is that Nintendo already has a tenuous relationship with the internet and YouTube and all of those things, and then for this person to go and just release this online is crazy to me. And so now what is happening is that Nintendo of America specifically is clamping down on reviews. Mario Odyssey, for example, I wouldn't be surprised if that just doesn't, like a lot of people are like, we don't know if we're going to get a copy or not. Nintendo apparently has been, I don't know, like who here knows about what exactly the situation is right now.
Basically, what Nintendo has said is that, or what seems to be the general consensus online, is that this does not affect Nintendo Canada and Nintendo of Europe. It only affects North America because that's where the person is from that did this. So because of that, influencers, YouTubers, bloggers, not like magazine review sites and things like that, like IGN or GameSpot or anything, they're not affected. But influencers and YouTubers who may, stream part of the game or anything, are essentially not going to get it until, or if they get it at all.
We are disappointed, and we need to rebuild your trust.
If they get it at all, it's going to be late, like close to the release date. And I mean, I can see that and I can see where that's coming from, because we have some friends of the show who are in the United States, and they're just now starting to receive Super Mario Odyssey codes for download. So this is already going into effect. And guys, look.
I would. Sorry, I'm going to pipe in there. This was actually in effect previously because there was a lack of coverage for Fire Emblem Warriors from NOA. So again, referencing some friends of our show that we have in the industry as well, who are not in IGN but are part of their, maybe their own reviewers and their own organizations who are very large influencers, did not receive early access. Now, let me just kind of make a couple statements here. You're probably like, oh, boo-hoo, a lot of, these people don't receive early access. They should just be happy that they're doing what they're doing, and why should they get this stuff? Well, you do have to remember that as part of a strategy, influencers, content creators, getting games out to them early allows for them to share and to influence. That's their job, right? You are more likely to trust the words of people that that are more likely, that are more like you, than kind of a large advertising. Right. This is why YouTubers, this is why podcasters are so important. I mean, this is what we hear from so many of our fans as well. We get emails or tweets saying, "Thank you so much. I'm glad you recommended that game. I wouldn't have bought it, but I bought it because of you." Or, "I want to hear your feedback." So these people have a lot of sway and influence. So this is actually kind of a big deal. And out of all the players in the game, NOA, NOC, and NOE. So again, America, Canada, and Europe. NOA is the big dog. Right, like they're the one with the big bite there, obviously. So this is actually quite impactful. And like I said, we were having some private online chat or offline chats with some of our friends, and they said, I haven't got my code yet, and I don't know when I'm going to get it. And again, these are people who are quite large and quite influential and make amazing content for Nintendo. So I don't know, if you're looking for content from some of those people, you may not see it.
Yeah,
or you may, and it may only impact maybe the smaller ones. But if you're going to places like IGN, GameStop, you may be grand, but or GameSpot. But some of the kind of like independent, smaller. I want to use a word like ma and pa is the word I want to use, if that makes sense. Outlets. I mean, I would very much consider us a ma and pa outlet, more just pa than ma. But
we welcome the ma's. All right, we welcome them.
But that they could be impacted by this for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? And to kind of to speak to what you're saying as far as listeners of this show, how that will impact us. We've actually been trying for a really long time to try and get some sort of connections with NOA. We primarily work with NOC, which is Nintendo of Canada, and Nintendo of Europe. And so because Justin is in Europe. And I am in Canada, so we have that as well. So that actually will impact us a little bit less. But I don't know, man. Like it drives me crazy that this happens.
Well, I think how it will impact us, Zach, is that the work that we have been doing to try to talk to NOA gets hampered by this.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. I guess that's where I really struggle with this, because I get Nintendo's point. Like, I get why they would do this. I completely understand, because not only this was not just a break of embargo, this was a break of breach of trust. It was a breach of trust.
It was
and,
a crime.
and quite honestly,
it was straight up a crime, like a
it was
an actual and to be actually completely honest, for people who are again like, and we're going to move on to some actual bigger news stories in relation to games and updates still got in a couple moments, but just in relation actually what the potential impact is for those of you, again, some inside baseball, when you sign up with NOE, NOA, or NOC, so a Nintendo doll, to kind of have access to these games, you are actually you actually sign a large document, a very large document that kind of outlines terms and conditions of said event. We had to sign when we came on with both NOC and NOE, and you are given a large embargo document that says basically what you can share and what you can't share, right? This is why when games come out, you don't see spoilers from a game, isn't out for 2 weeks, because the document outlines what you can do and what you can't do. So this person has thrown all those things out the window and basically is now trying to kind of get their own celebrity or their own fame, and they're doing this. But here's kind of the way it's working. And I'm going to use a parent analogy. When sometimes your kids do something bad, but you just blame them both to just have like a blanket statement, right? Like I heard you fighting, you're both crying. I don't know who started, but you're all in trouble. And that's really what Nintendo's doing right now. I don't know who started this. Well, actually, I do know who started, and I know who most likely started, but you're all in trouble. And guess what? You don't get your games for a while, and you got to go sit in the corner and think about what you did.
Yeah.
And that's and I'm not disparaging to Nintendo of America, because I do know that we have actually Nintendo of America employees who listen to our show, and we appreciate that. We love you, and we understand why you do what you do. But that's very much the approach that's happened here. So, I mean, to summarize this and then move on to our next topic, some of the influencers that you're used to seeing may not have as much access, but it goes to the idea of, with great power comes great responsibility, and if you screw it up, you got to get kind of a slap on the wrist for it. Unfortunately, a lot of people get slapped. That's the way it works.
Yep. Go sit in the corner and think about what you've done, YouTube. I don't know. It sucks. And I am, if anybody is worried about that, then subscribe to the show on YouTube, and we will continue to have those thanks to our partners at Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of Canada as much as possible. Please, we continue to be enjoy that.
Well, so I don't want to go back onto this, and I'm sorry, but it just kind of goes back to the idea of like you're given trust, right, and you wreck it, right, or you make bad decisions, and a lot of people would love to be privileged to have access to content, to make content for people and fans and who are passionate about it, and then for someone to kind of go ruin it for others is very frustrating.
Yep,
exactly.
And that's we are very fortunate to be in that boat. We and that's because of our fans. That's because of the content that they like us making. So we are allowed that access. We're allowed to have interviews with developers. We're allowed to get access to games. We're allowed to experience new hardware. These are all things because our fans put us there, and it's not because we do one thing, right? Yeah. And so those things are very very thin and can be taken away very easily. So if you kind of start like popping collars of like, well, I should have had this, and I had the right to do this. You don't. It's somebody else's content. It's somebody else's game. It's somebody else's creation. You have the right to share that. It's the same idea as going to like a movie and pirating a movie potentially, right? Like I don't know. I'm getting off my soapbox. I'm getting a little frustrated. 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm getting a little riled up.
I'm just gonna read a message from Josh Thomas from Nintendo Beyond in our chat room. Says, just think some moron ended up totally messing up by leaking a ROM of Mario and Luigi port of all things. He is genuinely going to need a lawyer, go to court, huge fine, etc. All for a ROM of an old Game Boy port.
He's exactly right.
Yeah. Well said.
I mean, if you're going to leak something,
you could have done this for Samus Returns, man. Like, at least make it something that is exciting.
Well, I mean, that's a port too.
Oh, shit.
I mean, at least do it for a game that's new, that's brand new content. I mean, not that we're going to sit here and defend people doing this, but if you're going to do it, like, make it worth it, man. Rip Mario Odyssey or something.
All right. Okay. Well, we're not going to do that. But speaking of a game that will be coming out soon is Mario Odyssey. But before that, there's been a lot of updates. Has there not there, Zachary?
Yeah. So we've got a Switch port, Switch update 4.0. And
just a couple hours ago.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go right into the news section here of my Switch because they have a whole list of things that are in here.
You know, that's one thing I would say I really do enjoy is jumping in there. You get like a little micro learning video about, hey, here's what's happened, or a little news. I enjoy their kind of like news update thing.
Yeah. So this is, I'm just going to show this for the video people. You know, they've got this little cartoon thing, right, with all the update stuff. So here's what is in 4.0, which if you haven't done it yet, go over to, you know, you can update your Switch. So I'm just going to read this whole thing because why not? So hello, everybody. Today is the big day. Why do you ask? Because it's National System Update Day.
Nobody sent the press release to Sony or Xbox,
Wait,
apparently.
No, I don't think that's actually a thing. But hey, there is a new system update, and it's called version 4.0.0. Let's talk about brand new features. Bullet point number 1, video capture for select games. Hold down, what is that button called? The capture
button?
Capture button.
This is your first day at the office? Jeez, kid. Get
whatever.
together.
The circle button.
Circle in a square button.
Listen, this is the first time listening to our podcast. You don't know where it is on the Switch. It's your own problem. Go find someone else to do.
Left Joy-Con. It's the screenshot button. You can, so if you hold down the button for not very long, by the way, I've noticed. No. It only takes, if you tap it, it does that. If you hold it down at all, it's going to take a video. You can check out saved videos in your album, trim the beginning and end of each clip, and post videos to Facebook and Twitter. Show your skills to the world. So let's talk about that first. Video capture. I've played around with it quite a bit. If you haven't checked out my, I actually feel like I'm going to do this a lot. I'm going to, anytime something funny happens now, you'll be able to hold down that button, and it's going to capture that video. And honestly, I think that these are designed for you'll notice that you're posting to Twitter and Facebook. You're doing these videos so that you can trim it into a short clip that is going to loop. I feel like that is ideally how this will be used, although you can do a whole 30-second clip if you want.
Well,
so let's be
balanced.
Full disclosure of what this is. This is not full scale capture for however long you want it to be. It is only the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's not like
what you've done.
Let you go on Twitch or stuff like that.
By the way, another thing that you need to keep in mind that because I was playing with it, if you capture, if you hold down that button and you capture that 30 seconds, if you do not let a full 30 seconds lapse before you do the next one, it will only do however long it's been, so they don't overlap, right? So you can't.
Oh, that's cool.
So like if you so you're not going to get multiple videos that overlap. It's just like boom. And so like I did one, and then because I was actually playing right when what's Zora Prince Sidon, right when you first meet him, I was just happened to be right there when I was playing and I was testing this out, and so I tried to get that whole initial scene, and so I was capturing multiples. I got one 30-second clip, and then it captured one 12-second clip after that. So that is something to keep in mind. It doesn't stack, I guess. And they're only in certain games, right? When they say available in certain games, they mean like basically Nintendo published games right now.
4 games.
Right. 4 games. Yeah, we can talk about that in a second, Justin. But the 4 games that are currently released are Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, ARMS, Splatoon. That's it. I tried in Fire Emblem Warriors, and it did not work. So, and that is a game that is coming out this Friday, but the DLC is not patched into this game yet either. And so I'm suspecting a day 1 patch for Fire Emblem Warriors, but we'll see. What about, Justin, there is another game that you have been lucky to play. We do know, and that it does work in that game.
Correct. So what I would say is that we, as we've kind of been joking around here, I have got access to Super Mario Odyssey for a review, and we can confirm that actually video capture does support that. I've captured a couple of videos here. Obviously, I'm not posting them online, but it does actually capture it. Not a huge shock. Again, if it's Mario,
it's not surprising that their big holiday game supports the brand new feature on the Switch.
Correct.
Yeah. Right? Like you would suspect that would work.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not out in the press release. But for those of you that are maybe like, oh well, Does it work for Mario Odyssey? Yes, it does.
So we got a good question in the chat here. Do you think it's an opt-in system where games have to flip a bit and in parentheses and will? And I think yes. I think I'm pretty sure like these are, to correct Zach, not Nintendo published but Nintendo first party developed games. They probably already had that bit flipped, which is why they all work out of the box. But I'm pretty sure other games will probably start enabling it, but they got to be patched to do it.
Yeah, I agree. So that's it's interesting. Like I wonder as well. Like I don't know enough about developing, but I wonder if this is a significant enough. Like it's super smooth, I guess is my point. Like it doesn't seem like it's making anything slower. You would think if it's constantly recording game footage that it would take a little bit of resources, but it didn't seem to. It doesn't seem to have any sort of an issue there. So that's pretty impressive.
How big of a file is generated in a 30-second clip, you know?
I don't know, and I'm actually wondering how, like, because it's just posting to Twitter and Facebook. How big is this? Like, what's the resolution of this video? I'm looking at my.
I'm hoping 720p. Otherwise, if it's smaller, then you're losing resolution, and then
I'm pretty sure quality. It is. I'm pretty sure it is losing resolution because I'm looking at this. And it's honestly like it's thumbnail quality. It's meant to be thumbnail.
Social. It's meant to be social media.
Twitter and Facebook will also compress it themselves. So just because.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see, pulling the raw recording off the SD card, what the compression is and the resolution.
I think that actually the 3DS version, or sorry, the on the Switch, if you look at your videos, it does look a little bit better. I have noticed that. So that's the video recording, which is cool. Expect to see all sorts of crazy videos on of Mario, which now, instead of just seeing screenshots spoiling Mario Odyssey on Twitter, you will now see video of spoiling Mario Odyssey. So enjoy that. Next is profile icons featuring characters from Super Mario Odyssey and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then in brackets it says check out all the mustaches. So there are five new icons for Mario Odyssey and 5 new ones for six Mario Odyssey, 6 Breath of the Wild new ones. And so that's pretty cool. So there's you can pick one of the champions now.
Yeah, I've already changed my icon to Cass.
Yeah, and
he's the best NPC.
And I currently have the Goomba Mario, so that's cool. Which is neat. Sorry, dang it, I just pulled away from my notes here. There we go. So after that, you can now transfer user profiles and save data to another Switch system. Hallelujah. You can find this feature in system settings, users, transferring users, and save data. So that's great that you can transfer it. You still can't back it up, I don't think. There's no mention of being able to back up your save data. So it's nice that you can transfer it. That's great. But if you want to be able to back up your save data on an SD card that you then transfer to your computer, if people are worried about stuff like that, that's still not an option. So the save data still has to be on the hardware itself. Just keep that in mind. A pre-purchase option is available for certain games on Nintendo eShop for Nintendo Switch. This option also lets you preload the digital copy of a game to your device, allowing to play quicker when the game is released. Again, no surprise that is coming right as Mario Odyssey is approaching.
Has anyone checked if it's available for pre-purchase?
I did. I did earlier before we started recording Retro Rewind, and it was not. I would imagine that will change tomorrow.
Yeah,
and they update the eShop.
Yeah, probably true.
That's a good point when they update the eShop. Yeah.
And then it just says there are additional adjustments and features for a more pleasant user experience.
Stability.
Yes, all the stabilities. As well, I would say there is a way to make sure that you go into your settings and update your Joy-Cons, because there is an update to the Joy-Cons. I don't know what it means. I don't know what.
Yeah, nobody does.
Nobody knows what it does. Probably I don't know.
It's a secret to everyone.
Yep, it is. So, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Is this exciting to you? It is exciting to me that they're continuing to add new features to the Switch, and that
this is a necessary step in the right direction.
Yes,
I fully expect that since the capture feature has been added, that we will eventually get streaming and the ability to record longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a couple things that I'd agree with. I'd love to record for longer than 30 seconds, and streaming would be nice. But I think we're going to see more of an increase for the recording than anything else. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see it transition over to more than Nintendo's properties. So I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts. But I like the fact they're doing the updates.
Wait, say that again. You wouldn't
the capture, like the 30-second capture. I bet you it's only for Nintendo games currently.
Right.
I wouldn't be. I don't know if. I mean, why isn't Mario and Rabbids included?
Yeah, because it's not a Nintendo developed game. And
right. So what I'm saying is, I don't think it's going to pass Nintendo developed games at any point.
Well, yeah. I still think they have a chance of putting out a patch to make it to enable that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do that. Well, the thing is that they literally today had a patch for their DLC or whatever it was, or yesterday or tomorrow or whenever that DLC is coming. Okay, let's get in some quick fire news. Which do I have a bumper for that? Something like.
Okay, I'm a squid.
I don't know. I need to update my soundboard. Lego Dimensions is canceled. Marty, you're upset about this. Right?
I am, mainly just because I love the sets, and I haven't played a whole lot of Lego Dimensions since we moved the Wii U upstairs for my kids. But an internal email went out today into Traveler's Tales and the development team behind Lego Dimensions, basically saying that it was dead, it was over, there would be no year 3, which is kind of sad because I've always thought that Lego Dimensions was probably the best implementation of Toys to Life, even though a lot of people complained about how expensive it was. And the main thing is the reason being that it mixed so many really cool properties together that you wouldn't have seen any other way, and it actually, I really expect some of these sets to go on to become collector's items because they just haven't made minifigures or anything from them, like
an ET one and a
Beetlejuice, Wizard of Oz, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans Go. None of those things.
That one can burn.
Portal,
Goonies. There's a lot of those and look, when these hit the bargain bin, every single one of them I don't have, I will buy. Because I already have this giant tackle box full of Lego Dimensions. Why not go ahead and finish out the whole set?
Yeah.
So can I ask, and forgive me for being ignorant, is Amiibo the only Toys to Life that's left?
Besides Skylanders, which is on indefinite hiatus.
Oh, okay.
Skylanders will not be getting a game this year or toy line to accompany it. However, there is a new game that I saw at Toys R Us a couple weeks ago called Light Seekers. That is it's an app for your Android or iOS tablet, but the toys are actual action figures. They look like more articulated He-Man figures, and they have these massive weapons that come with them. They're actually very well sculpted, but yeah, toys that, this is one of those things with, like, you remember rhythm games, music games, the bubble burst. Now the bubble has burst for Toys to Life, and I would wager to say that within 1 to 2 years, Amiibo releases for Nintendo. I won't say they'll stop. I'll say they slow. Amiibo will probably become more of a special thing than just, hey, let's release 4 billion of these guys this year.
Well, I see that one I'm struggling with a little bit, Marty. And I understand your logic behind that. I don't dismay that part, but it's more the general thirst for Nintendo. right? And the success Nintendo's currently having. I think if anything, I think they're probably in a better position to reposition or re-strategize or maybe rebrand what Amiibo looks like from a larger perspective, right? We've talked about it before. We've talked about it with like Roger about that idea of maybe it's cards, right? Maybe that's the way it needs to go, right? But I don't know if they'd.
I don't think they're gonna. Well, and the thing is they do such a limited release. Mm-hmm. I think part of what happens with what's happened with a lot of these Toys to Life is that they overcrowd the shelf. Like I have been in Walmart and they have an entire section of their, like one panel of their aisle that is full all the time of Lego Dimensions figures. And the thing is that seeing it full all the time makes it look like there's no scarcity, and if there is no scarcity, that also makes it look less desirable, right? Like, oh, look at all these things. They can't even sell these. They can't possibly be good because they can't even sell them. So I guess I just won't buy them, right? Like that is.
Here's the thing, though, Zach. There's never been any scarcity with Lego Dimensions. You've always been able to find the packs you want. Now, did they overship the initial waves? Yes, I believe they did. So the thing, though, about Lego Dimensions with them sitting there and just kind of collecting dust, for better or worse, the writing was on the wall for the game.
Oh yeah.
After a year or two, but I think that Nintendo is now facing and maybe we want to talk about this for a few minutes. They're facing a unique situation here because the demand for Nintendo toys and the demand for Nintendo stuff was huge when Amiibo came out, and it was like the concept then was, oh man, we're finally getting really well done figures or figurines of our favorite Nintendo characters, right? Mm-hmm. We're 3 years into Amiibo, 4 years into Amiibo, and for a lot of Nintendo fans and a growing number of Nintendo fans, the kind of the byline for Amiibo now is still, I don't really have any reason to own these other than they're cool.
Well, sure. And the thing is, though, is that I think that they're leaning into. I think that they've kind of realized the only true path through Toys to Life with Amiibo is the collector's market, because that is really the only reason there is to buy these, right? And like, yes, they put some stuff in there, but I don't know how many people actually go out and buy the Amiibos, like percentage wise. I don't think very many people do, and yet here we are. Anybody who wants one, I think generally, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but it seems like if you want one, then you have figured out by now how to get your Amiibo, or you just have given up.
The thing about it is, though, is I've noticed that for a short while, I would say pre-Breath of the Wild, that it was easier to get Amiibo than it is now. It's almost as if they went through a period where they were like, yeah, let's make these a little more widely available. Now, Animal Crossing is especially. I think they banked big on Animal Crossing Amiibo, and it did not work.
Oh, they're still my store shelves.
Yeah, I mean they can't give those things away. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
But they should.
But the thing is those the late Smash Amiibos like Ryu and Bayonetta and all, you could still find those if you want to. The issue is that I'm running into is like, it started with Splatoon. I've still not seen a Splatoon 2 Amiibo on the shelves. Yeah. Ever. Never saw them. When I got the Metroid and Samus Amiibo 2-pack from my local GameStop, I was the only one who got it because I pre-ordered it, and that was the only copy that they sent to the store.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wedding Mario Amiibo will probably be the same way. Oh. And so, but the thing is when I say that they don't have, like a lot of people are saying they don't have a reason to buy these, why is Nintendo so hesitant to make these a game, to make a game around these that brings their properties together, like Skylanders or whatever, or Lego Dimensions, and actually uses these figurines as actual game characters.
Then they gotta have to redo 100 plus amiibos to make sure everyone has what they want and need to play the game.
They don't want to hear fans bitch and whine about it.
Yeah, and I can see that's exactly what I was going to say, Justin, is that then they have to be accountable to their supply, and they don't want to be accountable to their supply. They want to be 100% like, yeah, I'm just gonna, we're gonna make how many we're gonna make, and don't worry about it because we, you don't really need to have these to enjoy.
And the crazy part about you say that, and the crazy part about that is like Justin can't Guardian amiibo anywhere. People in Europe can't find a Guardian amiibo anywhere. My local Best Buy has a truckload of Guardian amiibo.
Yeah. Each site's a little bit different. Like it
makes no sense.
Yeah, I've mentioned before that like in the EU, I can't. I mean, unless I want Animal Crossing amiibo. If I want Animal Crossing amiibo, then I'm fine. But I cannot get amiibos here, so I have to have you guys purchase them and then eventually either ship them to me or I meet up with you. Jesse, I'm looking at you and my Guardian amiibo. Thank you, sir. My champion amiibo, I should say.
Yeah, so Guardian or Goron, but
Goron champion amiibo. Thank you.
Right. I'll keep my eye out when it launch.
Thank you. It is just a little bit different, right? So yeah, I don't know. They got to figure this out.
I will say that in the chat, Chris White reminds us that there is a new Toys to Life game coming out for the Switch. Called Starlink Battle for Atlas, where you actually put together pieces, I think, and build a ship. With this announcement of Lego going out, and I mean, Lego, here's the thing, Disney and Lego exiting the game for Toys to Life, if you think about that, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Those are Lego, two major players.
That'd be like Apple saying, you know what, we don't need to make phones anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, well, so much for quickfire news.
Sorry.
It's the first one. No, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm just going to say very quickly, games on sale is section added to the Switch eShop. So there you go.
One item so far.
This is a Band-Aid solution. I'm just going to say that. I think there are some games that are on sale in other regions. I checked out in Don't Knock Twice, for example, is on sale in Europe, but not in North America.
Well, I don't even think it's out yet.
Here. I think that this is a really good thing for consumers as far as like a Band-Aid solution for the eShop, because it's going to encourage games that have been on the eShop for a while to put themselves on sale to be seen again. And I think that's great for us. But I don't know. We still need to see it. In other words, they're going to have to take a loss or a price cut in order to actually get promoted again. But whatever. I think that's great for us, but I don't know about that. We saw Nintendo publish an infographic for releases for the rest of the year. We have no money left. I'm just not going to eat, actually, is what's going to happen. So that's patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, everyone, on what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. I think for me, Xenoblade, Rocket League are the two big ones that I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year. I don't know about you guys, what you're looking forward to, but
Rocket League is definitely on my radar after Mario, but I still find it extremely weird that we don't have a release date for that yet.
We have just holiday.
And do we know for sure that that's getting a retail release, or is that I know we've had this discussion before, but I have not seen a retail release, at least if it's the same date or not. I don't know.
I don't recall them saying it's a retail release at all. I think it's just digital.
Okay. So,
as memory serves me.
Yeah, that's kind of my impression too. So then we have updates. So ARMS 3.2 added badges, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see where. What else did that add? What else did that add? Do you remember?
Yeah, so that added badges. That added a replay function, so it records video actually. that you can go back. It's not posted like the same way as we record your capture footage, but it's recorded, so you can go back and review it if you want. It included a new stage, a new level, and it included a new new character that you get in the Grand Prix. It's kind of like an evil Springman. What do they call him? Springtron. Springtron. So he's kind of the new baddie for the Grand Prix. As I recall, you have to go through it at least in level 4 to be able to unlock him. I don't think he's an unlockable playable character.
You have to go through level 4, and you cannot lose a single round.
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
Do you have to go as Springman, or can you go as anybody?
No, you can go as anybody.
Good.
By the way, as far as those badges go,
Badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers.
if you got that reference, then you're welcome. And
I will tell you that the badges are really cool because when you do unlock them, they give you coins.
Yep.
And earlier, just like it will retroactively unlock some of them based off your stats. So I was able to get 1,000 coins from badges earlier.
Oh, wow. So how many badges?
Same with me.
How many badges was that then? Like I literally have
about 10, because some of them give you more than others.
Oh, okay.
So like some of them, like there are some badges that'll generally give you like 10 to 20 gold, and then I had one that gave me like 300 or 400. I can't remember. It was a very high number.
Yeah.
I didn't get any.
I got like, you beat Grand Prix mode. I'm like,
I don't own
the game,
I got a chunk of them actually. I got a ton. I finished a row and a half.
Nice. See,
wow.
It just shows how much I actually played that game.
I really enjoyed ARMS, and I played at the EGX tournament, which is cool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And how did that go, Justin?
I didn't come in first, but I didn't come in last.
There you go. Way to yeah. Nice. I don't know where I'm going with that. All right. Next up, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle also getting an update, as well as Pokken Tournament DX.
The Pokken one's not out yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, and it basically allows you to do team
battles online.
Yeah, which is cool. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the footage that I put up online there, but the team battles in there is pretty cool. Team battles, basically, it's like a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle where that's basically what it feels like, but in Pokken. So you like make a team of 3 and then battle through it, and you have like persistent health bars or whatever. So that's cool. So you can do that online now, which is neat. And then Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Did anybody buy the DLC?
I did.
You did?
I did buy the DLC season pass actually. So I haven't jumped into it, but I did buy the season's pass. If you have bought the season pass, this is included in it. But this is a new challenge mode actually. So you are able to unbundle, and you can buy this. I think it's for $10 on the eShop right now as well. But it's just going to come back, and they give you new challenges, some new stages, I believe. And they just make it more difficult. They make it ultra hard and difficult for you to play some levels. So if you liked Mario Rabbids, this is probably something to look into. I really enjoyed Rabbids, and it's a game I kind of keep coming back to, so I wanted to pick this package up. And like I said, the season pass is, I think, is $30 for it, and you get content, but this is the first pack that's coming out in it. So definitely check it out. I really
hope that game gets recording.
Yeah, that'd be cool, eh?
Because, I mean, there's some really neat, combos and things that you can set up there that would be really cool to show off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. NBA 2K18 also updated tonight.
And this is an update that we actually heard about in our chat from actually here during the show. I haven't been able to confirm that this is out yet, but so we're taking it with a grain of salt. No offense to the person who posted this, but My Nintendo News and Nintendo Everything haven't updated with it. But basically, you can play with your friends online if this patch is out. Which has been a major complaint about 2K18. I hope it's true, because I would actually love to hear somebody say something good about that game on Switch other than, hey, it's good for basketball on the go.
Yeah, right on. So those are a bunch of updates that are coming. I guess the only other thing I'll say
that are out
right now. A couple of quick dates. Doom is now coming November 10th, which is 1 week before Skyrim, which is Crazy Town, as well as Batman Season 1 from Telltale is coming on November 14th. So, yeah. So that is that. And, any other... I think that works. All right, let's get into what we've been playing, shall we?
Do it.
All right, and our big games we're talking about this week. We got a bunch of review type games. I guess the big thing that I'll talk about leading off here today, we released our review of Fire Emblem Warriors on the Switch. I gave the game a 9 out of 10, which, looking around online, I think is a little bit higher than a lot of people did, but I stand by it. I think it's really, really good. Because I think, this is something that's interesting, is when you're really put in a position where, wow, I really need to give this game a score, and that's a new thing for me. I don't really, I think we kind of casually throw them around, but it felt, to me at least, like, no, I'm putting it on a YouTube video. This needs to be a lot more official, right? I don't know. It was an interesting thing for me, just as far as behind the scenes sort of thing. But I stand by it. I think that this game is, I guess here's how I'll put it. If you went and enjoyed Hyrule Warriors because it was a Zelda game, then you will probably like that game more. If you liked it because it was a cool fighty action game with lots of strategy and multitasking and all those sorts of things, and that's what you liked about it, then I think that you will like Fire Emblem Warriors better. That's how I would say that. So, I played through the entire campaign. I actually still, at this point, there are a lot of the missions. If you've played Fire Emblem Warriors, then you know that adventure mode was huge. And there's so many missions in there that you need to do to unlock the entirety of the game. So, and there's no way that I was going to ever get that done. But I have played enough of this game that I'm like, you know what, this game is awesome. I think that it's something that you definitely should not sleep on. And this is coming from somebody who loved Hyrule Warriors Legends, the 3DS version of the game. And I actually watched some of the footage of that new 3DS version. Not terrible. Not great, but not terrible either. So there's a ringing review for you. I would say if you're looking for a really cool, sit down and mindless action sort of game, I would say it's really awesome. I will say, and I would just encourage people, go to our YouTube channel and watch that review. And
sorry, Zach, you actually put up about 4 videos in total actually on it. Not just your game review. So there's a bunch of content there for people to access if you want more information on it as well. So not just review, but you put up some quality, some performance ones. Really, actually great content. So well done, Zach.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. And I will say as well, as far as being on the Nintendo Dads show, one thing that I will say as well is my son really likes this game a lot too. He's, that this is a hit with him. And again, he's 7 for those of you who don't know, but he's playing it on easy and he's fairly far into it. But that this is a hit game with him when he comes home and during his free time at school, he's drawn pictures of Ryoma and Robin and whatever, right? And he's like, yeah, we were playing at recess and I was Ryoma and this one friend was Corrin. And so I'm just like, wow, okay, that's interesting. But the cool thing is that the 2-player mode on here, I think during the review, I mentioned this, but it has a pretty decent multiplayer mode. The problem is that and this is in any version of this game, that there are so many enemies on screen that you get pop-in from the enemies. The multiplayer version of this, for me at least, I was noting significant pop-in when characters were 10 feet away from me, to the point where you basically have to rely on that mini map in order to see enemies, even though you should be able to see them because they're right in front of you. Even the captains, when you have to go after the captains on a map, I couldn't even see the captains until I was basically right on top of them sometimes, which is a little bit frustrating. But my son certainly didn't notice, and he was just, button mashing and having a great time, and he really enjoyed. It's a great way also to be able to help play, like if he's playing through a level and he's like, oh, Dad, I can't figure this level out. You can just drop into the single player campaign at any time, or into the story mode. You can drop in at any time and play through that, and just help him through a level. And then, all right, you got it from now on. All right, you go and play some more. And so it's not like, here, Dad, beat this level for me either. It's I'm helping him get through the level, and it's really a really fluid sort of experience. So, and apparently I didn't ever try this, but apparently you can even do that with a single Joy-Con. So that's pretty rad. So definitely check it out if that's something that you're interested in. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat about it before we move on, but yeah, right on. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or anything so far. Apparently the review, actually, when I made the review, I was under the impression that there was content embargoes, and apparently there wasn't. So I could have shown much more content, and maybe I will if you guys, if there's interest, but maybe tomorrow. I don't want to make any promises, but maybe. So I don't know if Marty or Marty, you said you were interested in this. Did you have any other questions or thoughts about the game, or I don't know if you saw the review?
I did watch your review, and I thought you did a great job on it, and I've been looking at what other people have said too. But I guess what about the replay value of this game? I mean, you went into a little bit of it when you talked about adventure mode, but just being honest, with Hyrule Warriors, adventure mode was pretty overwhelming to me, to the point that I didn't do it. So what kind of replay factor do I get if I don't go into adventure mode?
So I would say there's a lot of incentive to replay levels. I would also say adventure mode is they call it history mode in this one. It is much less overwhelming. So basically, instead of having the entire Zelda overworld, basically what they have instead is they show a map from Fire Emblem. And I think I actually have one of our videos that I posted is of history mode. And it is, so basically a little map shows up and it has a bunch of enemies on the map. Each one of the enemies on that map is a scenario that you have to beat. It's one level. So you kind of progress through the story of each, and there's five maps currently. I'm assuming that's where DLC is going to come later too. But so you just kind of go through it, and I would say each map maybe has 20 scenarios, something like that, like 20 levels. Some of them are very short. Some of them are like reach or kill 1,000 enemies before 20 minutes is up, and you beat it in like 5 minutes. Some of them are, they're very simple, kind of like that original game was, or like in Hyrule Warriors. So I would say that is what's there, but also leveling up all of your characters, filling out their skill trees. All of the characters in the game, just like in Fire Emblem, there's the Master Seals that you can unlock. And I didn't really talk about this in the review, but you get those Master Seals and then you can upgrade your character to a higher class, right? So, like Marth, you upgrade him and then all of a sudden he's got all this cool like gold armor that's on him too and stuff like that. And he gets a big stat boost from that. So you get the Master Seals, which you have to unlock those Master Seals through beating specific levels. And you also have to, what's the other thing that I was saying? Oh, the support conversations as well. So each character has some characters that they have an A+ ranking instead of an A ranking. Those ones, if you get them up to an A+, it unlocks a support conversation or like a character conversation between the two. And it's not just within the specific franchise. It's like, oh, there's Ryoma and Marth, and they're going to talk to each other about something. And so that's kind of, there's lots of incentive to continue to play those levels. Plus there's multiple difficulties. So if you play through it on hard, actually once you beat the game, you unlock lunatic mode. And so there's easy, normal, hard, lunatic mode in all of those, and you have to beat it on hard in order to get. There's so many little collectibles all over the things, all over the place in this game. So there's tons to do, and it'll last for a long time. So I think replayability, this is actually a really good game for that. If you don't mind just playing through the same levels multiple times. I don't know. Does that answer your question, or like is that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like with Hyrule Warriors, once you beat the main storyline, if you want to go back and play it with different characters, you can. But I mean, it had the recommended character, for each scenario, and I guess I just didn't really thought to deviate from that. And I didn't feel like in Hyrule Warriors, you can upgrade and get more combos and stuff like that, and use your items and your winnings through that. But I never felt like there was all that much importance placed on that. I felt like if you were good enough, you could manage by without getting every single upgrade for Link or whatever. So it's good to see that they're improving on the formula of that. I just wish that they kind of would have done this in the reverse order and maybe done Fire Emblem Warriors first and then Hyrule Warriors. And seeing what we got instead.
I would love for them to do a Hyrule Warriors 2, given what they've learned from these games, and also now that Breath of the Wild is out, and we could have. Can you imagine having like each of the champions as one of the characters, and like the new Breath of the Wild? Like let's just blow the lid off. Just do Breath of the Wild Warriors for all I care, right? Like there's probably enough characters in there that you could do it. Or at least have a Hyrule Warriors 2, I think would be bad. So
Breath of the Wild Warriors sounds amazing. I would play it. If only for the fact that you would most definitely or most likely get a Cass character to play as, and he would, because like there's some characters in Hyrule Warriors that are just bonkers,
like Agatha.
Yeah, like let's make this giant projection of a bug that falls out of the sky and drops on people. Cass would probably be like, let me play this accordion and fire will shoot out of it and everyone will explode.
Yeah. Oh, man. Koei Tecmo, if you're listening, which I know you are,
do it.
Because everybody always does. Yes, do that. That's what we do. Either that or let's just do straight up Nintendo Warriors. Like do Super Smash Warriors. There you go. That'd be awesome. Just Super Smash Warriors. I don't even care. Do the same sort of like trophies and stuff. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, that's there. The other games that as far as other games that I have been playing for review, very quickly. I also yesterday posted a video review of Rogue Trooper Redux, which is a third-person shooter. It is a remaster of a game that came out about 11 or so years ago. I don't know if anybody had ever heard of this game before. I certainly hadn't. I think it's the developer says that it's got a bunch of awards, and then I didn't hear anything else from anybody else that said it was great. But anyway, Rogue Trooper Redux is that. It's a sort of third-person shooter. It feels very much like a game from that era, about 10 or 11 years ago. Where it's a little bit, I talked about this in the review, but I feel like lately we have made a lot of progress with very flashy, artistic type of games. This game takes place in the future, but it's also very realistic, and that for me was kind of like, not exciting, right? Like I'm a Nintendo gamer. I like things to be artistic and flashy and whatever. Not to say that there isn't that art can't also be realistic. But it was kind of like gritty, and there was a reason that I flocked to Nintendo, and it's because I like things to be colorful and whatever. So, having said that, this game I still recognize the quality or the what's the word I'm looking for here? The the goodness that it has, the quality. I don't know. It's a good game. It's just not my cup of tea. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you guys saw this one or if you have any questions about this.
I played it at EGX and it didn't really grab me. I wasn't a huge fan. It felt like someone was like, "Hey, let's take Gears of War, but like trim it down because we don't have the huge, massive budget." And then remember what was really popular? Remember the Avatar movie? Let's paint everybody blue. Yeah,
Blue Man Group is
and let's throw in a little bit of Call of Duty-esque pieces and let's have a go. So I played at EGX and I was not super impressed with it, but I also realized it might not just be a game for me. It's not fall in my category, but
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I need to. That's what I kind of recognize too. So that's and then the other one is the Count Lucanor, which I think comes out tomorrow for the eShop. And there's no embargo on this, so I can talk about it. Basically, this is a what we would call like a 12-bit maybe. I don't know if you ever played the game. What was it called? Sword and something.
Sword and Sorcery.
Sword and Sorcery. It was like a kind of a weird looking 8-bit game. Anyway, this game, I think you should actually pull up some video footage and watch the trailer of this, because basically the story of this game, it's sort of like a top-down, I don't know, like a Zelda sort of dungeon crawly thing with puzzles and stuff, but it's in sort of like a 12-bit art style. The cinematics in this game, by the way, and even the art on this, I don't know if you can see the album art here. I'm going to just show it on the stream here, but it's just like really kind of, you probably can't even see that, but it's just pretty, right? Like it's a really cool, it's got some cool cinematics there. I actually am really enjoying it so far. Some of you may not know this, but I actually have a real soft spot for horror movies and stuff like that. I enjoy being scared and kind of frightened by that. And so the story of this game is this boy, when he's 10 years old, he's super poor, and his mom, and he comes in, like the opening scene of the game is like, he comes in and says, "Hey mom, you know what day it is?" "Yeah, it's your birthday, son." He's like, "Oh, did you get me anything?" "No, son, you know we're poor. This is BS. I'm out of here. I'm 10 years old now. I'm a grown man. I'm leaving on my own." It's like, "I can't believe you didn't give me a present. I'm out." And
as the father of a 10-year-old son, you're not a grown man.
So he says,
it's
so
like
he leaves the house.
Premise to Pokemon without the monsters.
Yeah, and all she says is,
the pockets.
All she says is, "Oh, please no, son." And then when he says, "No, screw you, woman, I'm out of here," which is really just a paraphrasing, but that's basically what he says. She says, "Okay, well, I'll be here if you ever want to come home," and then he leaves. So he runs into the forest, and you're kind of presented with a few different things that you can do in the game, as far as like people you meet, and like, "Oh, are you going to help this lady? You're going to help this person? You're going to help this?" And then all of a sudden a crow or a raven attacks you, and you wake up and it's dark. One thing I should say, by the way, just to kind of set the tone of this game, one of the people that I met as I was kind of exploring early in the game is there's this shepherd who's sitting around all of these goats, and he's just sitting there, he's chilling, and these goats are all just sitting there by himself, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like talking to him, and he says, "Oh, are you taking care of these goats?" And he says, No, these goats take care of themselves. I just sit here and smoke my pipe or whatever." And then this raven attacks me, and I kind of fall asleep or knocked out, and I wake up, and it's nighttime, and it's got this creepy music, and I walk back down past where this guy was, and all of the goats are standing on their hind legs with bloodshot eyes and razor sharp teeth, and kind of like whatever. And I walk over, and this guy is like in this sort of weird 12-bit art style. He is completely beheaded in a pool of his own blood, and is like, and it's very clear that these goats have turned on him and have eaten him and like beheaded him. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what is this game? What have I just got myself into? It's terrifying.
So what I'm hearing from you, Zach, is probably not child appropriate.
Probably not. I don't think so. I think it's depending on the child. Like if you've got like, I don't know.
Or depending on the child you want to create.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
ESRB for teen.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, teen. It's not, it's also very cartoony, right? And so, but yes, like for children, no.
Yeah, the art style kind of reminds me of like the old King's Quest games from the early 80s.
Yeah, so then basically you get to this castle, and it outlines like, oh, this little imp guy wants you to guess his name, and you go through the castle, and things unfold from there. But the opening of the game is just great, and I really enjoyed the opening of that game, and so I would suggest that if you like weird, creepy things, and I would suggest it. So I also recognize that that's not everybody's cup of tea. So do with that what you will. And that comes out tomorrow. So there you go. Any Jesse, Marty, you've been playing some review games too.
Yeah. Speaking of games that come out tomorrow, let me just show you guys this here. This is the Jackbox Party Pack 4, which comes out tomorrow on.
Big thanks to our friends over at Jackbox.
Jackbox Games has hooked us up in a major way with all of the Jackbox games. So actually, it's going to come out today as you're hearing this episode. I realize you're going to hear this on Thursday. 5 brand new games from Jackbox, and I've actually gotten a chance as of this recording to play all 5 of them, and I'll just go through them pretty quickly to tell you what you can expect. First up is Fibbage 3. It is the only sequel on the entire pack. Fibbage is basically, for those of you who haven't played before, is a game where the game asks you a question and you make up a fake answer. Now, it's entirely possible you may enter the real answer, at which point the game will tell you, and you'll pick another fake answer. The point is you want people to pick your answer, because the more people who pick it, the more points you get. All right? Also, if you pick the correct answer, you also get extra points. And you do this for a few rounds until you get to something called the final fibbage, in which you'll answer one final question and points are tripled. What it does do differently is it includes a mode that I haven't gotten to play yet called Fibbage It's All About You, in which one player answers the questions, like gives the truth about themselves, and then everyone else makes up fake answers about that person who is playing.
Awesome.
Yes, I think it's an incredibly cool twist for that game. The second game on the pack is called Survive the Internet, which is probably it's one of those that when you play it, it could go either way as to how good it is. Basically, you will get a prompt on your device that you will make a comment about, like a post or, on social media. It could be like we got the prompt last night. What do you think about nudity in television shows? And what happens is your answer is sent to another player, and they write a post that answer could be on. Does that make sense? So basically, like if you get the prompt, like I did last night, what do you think about nudity in television shows? And you answer, say, I don't think that's necessary. Then it could that'll be sent to another person's phone, and they'll be like, write a headline for this. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to put together the worst possible combination, like the most embarrassing, because you want to embarrass the person who made the comment. So last night it was, I don't think that's necessary. And somebody put the headline, doctors find cure for childhood cancer.
Oh.
So it's out of context and
yes, you take everything out of context. So after 3 rounds, you survive the internet, and whoever has the most points wins. The third game
scares me. I think I might enjoy it, but I don't know if my kids will get into it to the point that'll make it fun.
The second or the third game is called Monster Seeking Monster, and honestly, guys, this is the one that's kind of a weird one to me. You play a monster in a human disguise who is looking to go on dates with other monsters. And so at the start of the game, you have a list on your phone of all of the people who are playing, and you can send them messages that they read and respond to. So you send, as last night, my wife and I were playing with her family, and so I sent her a message, during the messaging phase, and be like, so you want to go on a date? And she can respond. The only problem is you can only send 4 messages. And after those 4 messages are sent, you decide who you want to go on a date with. If you match up, you both get points or hearts. But the monster that's in, you also have a secret monster power, which can be anything from if you're the werewolf and you both agree to date and it's a full moon, you turn the other person into a werewolf. Or one of the secret powers was, excuse me, the zombie who, if they dated somebody and it was successful, then that person turned into a zombie, and anyone else who dated them turned into a zombie. And at the end of the game, if everybody's a zombie, then the zombie apocalypse has happened and only the zombie wins.
This sounds like an STD simulator for some reason.
It's weird. And like you play through 7 rounds and you go back and forth between messaging and dating, and whoever has the most hearts at the end wins. And the actual second mechanic is that every round, whatever monster is in first place gets revealed. So you have these human disguises on and you take it off and it's like, it's the mummy, and it shows their power. And then everybody knows you're the mummy. So it makes it harder for you to stay in first place.
So you don't want to be in first place until the end.
Right. Right. In fact, my father-in-law won last night, and he was in 6th place the entire time because he was the invisible man, and his hearts stay invisible until the very end. And the invisible man starts with 2 extra hearts.
So even though he was accumulating points, no one knew how many he had.
Yeah, well, nobody knows how many hearts they have. But like his literally stay invisible until the very last second.
Nice.
Like you think you've won, and it's like, oh, no. Let's tally the invisible mans, and we'll go from there. 2 other games on this, and I'll get through these really quickly. Bracketeering, which is a bracket game where you vote on absurd answers. So earlier tonight we had it's like 16 people can play this game, which makes it the largest Jackbox game that's come out. The question was, what kind of what was the first one? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it, but I remember the second one because with each round you get what's called a blind draw. And basically what that means is your answers may mean one thing in one round and may mean something different in another round because the question changes. So the question first was name a food. Okay? Name a food. Any food that comes to mind.
Burritos.
Okay. So in the second round, it took those things and it said, what kind of food would you like to buy from a dirty gas station?
Burritos.
And then everybody votes on the one that they think is going to, or the one that they would prefer to buy from a dirty gas station. Once that wins, the person who suggested it gets points, but you can also vote on the odds of whether it's going to win before it goes to vote. And if you voted, you think it's going to win and you click that, then you get points for that as well until it narrows it down to 2 answers and those last 2 answers battle.
So this game kind of sounds like an evolution of the Faker.
It does. It is, except without all the hand raising and pointing and everything.
Right. But at least how the final round works more specifically.
Right. The final round is 3 blind questions, and by the end it's just nonsense.
The final round of the Faker sounds like a lot similar to what.
Yeah, and that was the best part of the Faker to me. The last game is called Civic Doodle, and you are in a fictional town called Doodle City, where you're painting murals on walls. And so what happens is 2 or 3 people from the group get a prompt on their phone, and it's like art has been started on there, but you continue to draw. And then people vote on which one, you get a certain amount of time to draw or finish the drawing or to do whatever you want to with it. And then people decide which one is the best. Well, then that one is the template moving forward. So you continue to improve on that drawing, and then you can continue to improve on the other drawing until at last it's become this like big crowdsourced mural, and then you get points based on the votes, and then they show it up on the wall. And to me, it's probably the weakest one. But I would definitely recommend this if you like Jackbox games. The games on this one are varied enough that it doesn't ever feel like you're just playing the same game. The only gripe that I would have about this is that several of these games feel like they were made for the larger group audience than they were for a smaller group, and of course, a lot of them, I would say your median size for a lot of Jackbox games is 6 people, but Monster Seeking Monster, Survive the Internet, and Bracketeering all feel like they're built for like 8 to 10 or more. And that can be, it can be kind of hard to get groups together of that big to play these games. So a little bit of a downside, but the game is $25 on the eShop. It's $25 everywhere. So if you would like to pick it up, you can do that starting today from Jackbox Games on Nintendo eShop.
Nice.
There's a question in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 means I shouldn't have a party and 10 means I should absolutely have a party, should I have Jackbox Party Pack 4 Party? Should he make a party to play this game?
Yeah, I do. Like it. Well, depends on what type of party you want to have. Because we, my wife and I, we frequent about once or every other month. We go to a friend's house and we have board game day, and these games always get brought out there. And I'm anxious to try these out with them because they're the ones who introduced me to Jackbox Games. But they may, of course, 4 they don't have yet. So whereas I've played, I was actually surprised the other day. I looked on my Switch log, and it said that I've played Jackbox Party Pack for over 20 hours, Pack 3. Wow. So, I mean, it's a hit with my family. This needs some more testing. So it really depends on the type of group that you have. If it's a gamer group, then sure, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things that you don't have to be able to jump a certain way or anything. And a lot of it is, it's good for families too. A lot of these games have a family friendly filter. It does not go with the dialogue. It doesn't take out some of the dialogue, but it does take out some of the questions. So, I would say to the person who asked that question, I would say measure your group, see what they, if they like that type of thing, then yes.
He says it's a gamer group.
Oh yeah, then definitely. But I would ask if you've tried that before. Like if you've tried Jackbox Games before and they haven't really gone over well, then no. But it's something different. You just play with your phone. And now with this coming out, all of the packs are available on Switch. But I would only recommend 3 and 4 as some of the other games just don't hold up really well.
Would you say, like, are any of those on sale? Like what? Like I know I know that we are primarily talking about a Nintendo platform, but I know that for example, 1 and 2 I got on a discount. I think I got both of them together for about $20.
Yeah,
is that?
If I remember right, when 1 and 2 launched, if you owned a previous version, you get, so like 3 came out first on the Switch. So if you owned 3, 1 and 2 was discounted, so $20 instead of $25. So I don't.
Is that still going on? Is that the case?
I don't know.
I don't think there'll be a discount on this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure it'll. I don't know if it'll apply to 4, but I think the discount on 1 and 2 will still apply. So like if you haven't gotten 1 or 2 yet, or if you haven't gotten any of them yet, I imagine if you buy 3 or 4, then the discount will kick into 1 and 2.
Right.
Or at least the third game.
If it's me, like, and I can't say because I've played each of these games once, but I've spent more time with Party Pack 3 right now until I could recommend 4. I would say that 3 is your best bet because it has my all-time favorite game for Jackbox, which is Trivia Murder Party.
Agreed.
And I was hoping for a sequel to it in this game, and we didn't get it. But I feel like some of these will eventually become a favorite as well, especially Fibbage 3. But Quiplash 2 is on Jackbox Party Pack 3, as well as Trivia Murder Party. And, oh gosh, what is that other one that we... Yeah, Quiplash 2, and no, we don't play Faker. Guespionage. We really like Guespionage, and it's all 3 of those are good, solid games. And I think out of these, the front runners for me off of 4 are Fibbage 3 and Monster Seeking Monster and Survive the Internet. The others, I've got to spend some more time with them.
So here's my question. If we can do streams for this, right? Like some of these games streaming.
Yeah, actually,
we should work on that.
Great segue here. On my extra live stream that I'm doing from the night of November 9th over into the night of November 10th, I plan on doing some Jackbox games, which you can actually, what's cool about that is you can actually tune into that stream and you can put in the code and watch the game through the screen, and you can actually play as a participant and not just a member of the audience.
Nice. Very cool.
So we'll do a few of those that night.
Let's try that out. And we should, let's do that.
And in fact, what I've done before with 3 is I've played it. I have family in near Atlanta, and we didn't do it through YouTube because it's too much lag. But we set up a Twitch stream, and they were able to actually play it as real people through the Twitch stream and keep up. And that worked out pretty well. So I imagine this will still continue to do the same.
By the way, Justin, I know you got to eat soon. What have you been playing this week other than Odyssey? What else you got?
Nothing.
We ain't talking about Odyssey. Anything else?
Yes. So I'll make a statement. I'm not talking about Odyssey. We have an embargo on that, but that's what I am working on currently. I knew Odyssey was coming up, so I just kind of didn't want to pick up anything new or clear anything on my docket. So that was my major focus. So, but that's all I can say. That I will say I do have to go, but there's a couple things I want to quickly highlight, if that's all right, if I have to jet off.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at the Gamer Fest in Galway, Ireland, and that is November 10th, 11th, and 10th and 11th, I think. If you are there and you want to meet up, let me know. Send us a DM on our page. Barry Dunn will also be there, so him and I will be together having some havocs there. So check that out. Those are kind of the big things I want to highlight. Obviously, Marty, you can maybe cover Extra Life at the end of the show, since that's a good segue as well. Guys, just stay tuned. For those of you that are asking, like, when will we provide our review of Mario Odyssey? That will be on the day before it is released. We will put out an actual review of it. You can find that on our YouTube channel as well. Until then, we can't say anything about it, so keep tuned to that. And also next week, tentatively, Derek Bittner from Game Explain will be joining us as a special guest on the show here as well. So lots of exciting things coming up. That's it for me.
Nice. Right on. Well, have a good day. Try to get some work done while also playing the Mario Odyssey while in the company bathroom.
I actually, I playing it here. I actually killed its battery. I have had to put it back in the charger. In all fairness, I've been sitting in this chair now since about 3:30 this morning, so almost 4 hours. So that's not too bad, all things considered. So, guys, thanks very much for having me on as usual. But I do want to hear Marty talk about another game that he's been playing, that him and his son have been playing.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Marty Bully, right?
Yeah, we've been playing a little indie game called Square Boy versus Bullies Arena Edition. This is like, I really don't know how to describe this game, guys. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of like River City Ransom or Final Fight, where you play as the title character, Square Boy, who is a square with arms and legs, and he gets beat up at the start of the game by some bullies who are larger squares, and he ends up in a dojo where he meets Sensei, and Sensei teaches him how to be a karate grandpa or something, but like he comes out and starts beating people up too. And so the bullies are that the dialogue is even written to be like, you guys going over there to beat up the Square Boy, and they like all sound stupid and everything's misspelled and everything. So it's totally making fun of them. It's silly. It's a ton of fun. It's $5.
It looks like the kind of game that would be really fun to play in tabletop mode.
Can I tell you, we played it for an hour and a half today, my son and I. We never died. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. But it was so much fun to play with him. He and I were having a ton of fun. It's a great parent and child game, I think, because you figure you're figuring stuff out together. There's little combos you can string together and different things like that. The controls are super minimalistic, but definitely one that I think that it's easy for parents and kids to pick up and play together.
And that was one of the things that when this came through for early access, if the developers kind of saying would like a copy, and I thought I really wanted to raise this, I think, to this group, and Marty, I asked for you to give it a review because of the topic that surrounds it, right? Bullying, and I mean, obviously, it sounds like the developer is trying to take away the power that the bully has by obviously making them seem stupid and immature and trying to empower, I guess, the player to combat that bullying. And I guess my question would be, like, from parenting perspective, does this game allow you to engage in that conversation?
I think
I don't want to go too into like other things going on there, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that it definitely can open up some conversation there. There's never, like, I think the problem with things like that is they can get to a point where they're like super heavy-handed about it, and like it's not fun anymore. And it never really like comes out and like, you know, bullying is bad, kids, you know, or whatever that is. But just even having it in the name, and they're called the bullies, you know, and they've like, there's different varieties of them. Like and it's all represented by costume changes.
Bully. I'm watching some gameplay here.
Yeah, there's like a fedora wearing bully who has a gun and he'll shoot at you every now and then. Or my favorite is the pirate bully, who has like a pirate do-rag on and a boat oar, and you can knock the boat oar out of his hands and beat him with his own boat oar, which, I mean, it's like Double Dragon and Final Fight and everything had a really silly baby, and they named it Square Boy versus Bullies. But son is, and some of you guys may know this from listening to the show, or not, or just seeing us on Facebook. My son, a couple years ago, was diagnosed with ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder. And he, if you know anything about that, it's a spectrum, you know, and it really refers to a very large set of qualifications for what could fall under there. And we won't talk about where all that goes, but I mean, he's very high functioning and everything, but as he gets older, he's kind of starting to have his eyes opened a little bit to that I'm a little different than other boys, and I'm a little different from other kids. And so, you know, I went home today during lunch, and we played this during lunchtime, and I took a little bit of extra time to play with him after too. So we didn't get to have a huge conversation about it, but it's something that I think will make it easy because it's the medium of video games, right?
Yeah.
And that's his medium of choice. And this will be a good way for me to segue into talking about something that just quite frankly, he's had a little bit of a problem with lately. And how cool is it that we live in an age where you can do that? You know, I grew up in the 80s where everything was like, I remember watching this Halloween special where all the cartoon stars came together to say no to drugs, and it was like a Ninja Turtle and Fat Albert and all these guys are like, say no to drugs, kids, hey, you know, and all this, and it was just goofy.
Yeah.
But this presents it in a way that maybe takes it, like you said, Justin, making him seem stupid or silly, it strips the stigma away a little bit.
So here's a question that I have, Marty, and I don't know the answer to this. So like what are your thoughts on? This is total psychologist Zach coming out. What are your thoughts on?
It's the psychologist Zach segment of the show. Dun, 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 it's gonna get deep. Dun, 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 dun.
What are your thoughts on approaching the topic of bullying in a beat 'em up game, right? where
it kind of seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Where it's like, oh, see all these bullies, let's go beat the crap out of them, right?
I honestly feel like it's like that was my first thought when I first, you know, got into it. Was it's the old Twisted Sister song, right? We're not going to take it anymore. You know, I've taken all I can take, and I'm gonna. But I think Justin used a word there that I really like, of empowerment.
Yeah.
You know,
he said
the way
like,
these characters kind of come across.
Like, is it the
Well,
kind of
but the
you
way these characters kind of come across in their dialogue and in the beginning, it's pretty much a we're not going to stop this. You know, we're not going to quit doing this unless something drastic happens. And so you get, like, in the beginning, you know, he's just fighting back against the bullies, and then in the second level they kidnap Sensei, right? And so there's a little bit more of a story. Right. There's a little bit more of it kind of turns into a Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know, now I'm out for revenge type thing. But I get what you're saying there. It's kind of like, why are we, it's like fighting fire by lighting a match.
Yeah. And like, I suppose that the alternate, like the more ideal version wouldn't make a very good game where there's bullies and then you just walk over to a teacher or a supervisor at recess and then you tell them and then it all gets resolved and it's like.
Press X to tattle.
Right, like
tattle
that's like
success.
Yeah.
Square Boy used tattle. It was super effective.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear what you're saying though. Yeah.
I don't think that it's gonna like make kids go out and be like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put a do-rag on my head and grab a boat oar and go to town on the bullies tomorrow. But
he would go and he would not take any.
You can see that. You can see the headline now. Child inspired by Switch game to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was curious about that. Though.
So, but here's my thing. Like, let's talk technically about the game. Super not impressive graphics, which is fine.
It's simple.
It sounds like an NES soundtrack. The controls okay, but for $5, and I'm not saying this to belittle the game at all. Okay, let's be clear about that. For $5, what more can you expect?
Yeah.
Right.
How much is this? Is this game out right now, or is it?
It's out right now. It's $4.99 on the US eShop, and it features 2-player simultaneous control. There's also just to add to the game. I'm going to go ahead and boot this up so I can be sure that I'm making this. There's a story mode, but there's also a arena mode, which is kind of like a fighting game. So you can go in and do that. So you can, there's a little bit of extra added value to it besides just the story. And you can do this story via co-op. There's achievements that you can unlock in here. I mean, you can see right here, the graphics are, I mean, it's almost like a Meat Boy-esque aesthetic, you know? But let me see if I can drop in here. Let me see if I can drop into my game.
Yeah, when you were talking about like how the characters interact with each other or don't during the 2-player game, kind of reminded me of the fight themed movie where one character was the imaginary friend of another character.
Oh yeah. I can't remember the name of that movie, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, I know the movie. I just, spoiler alert, I didn't want to say it in case I
there's
off. But yeah.
Thing.
So that's the big reveal of the movie. But
here's I guess I'll just let this be the final word on it. If you have a child who struggles with this might be a great way to open a door to talk about a subject that maybe they're not comfortable talking about. You can sit down and you can play that game and you can be like, hey, has this ever happened to you? Or are you doing this to other people? Yeah. Because I think it works both ways. I think it could definitely be a conversation starter. And yes, there is the element that maybe it's not the best way to go about it. But again, conversation starter. I don't know, like in the grand scheme of things, do I wish that they had come out and just really had this like message? No, because I don't think that always works. There's a way to do it. Yeah. There's a way to do it and not beat you over the head with it, right? Yeah. So I would, if you like that type of game, like the beat 'em up, side scrolling.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, if you like that, like the beat 'em up, side scrolling 2D NES, SNES style fighter, then I mean it's $5.
Yeah, and I would say what I was going to say too is that I honestly don't think that that if you were to ask the developer, I think that the developer themselves may even say, Guys, we just picked bullies because it was a school setting or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that even necessarily was that. Like you said, I don't think they're trying to have.
If that was in the thought process, right?
But I think it's a worthwhile topic to have on our show specifically. So, right on. Very cool. Any other games that we've got here? Real quick, as we were wrapping up this.
I downloaded Infinite Mini Golf because it was on sale.
Okay.
And I was actually pleasantly surprised by it. It's not everybody's golf game. It's definitely not Hot Shots golf to a lot of people, and I think some people, would rather have that, but it's a good game, and it's mini golf. So you don't go in expecting much, but it's made by the same folks who make Zen Pinball. So if you like the Zen Pinball games, you kind of know what you're getting here. It's just it's golf.
Yep.
But there's some really clever things that they do with I've only played the first stage. It's like set in a giant kids room. You've been shrunk down. And so the dog is huge, and there's a RC car driving around, and there's things like you hit the ball through loop-de-loops, and it goes in a box where a drone takes it to the next part of the stage, and different things like that. And they just released completely free DLC for it that added a fourth theme, which is Tortuga, which means pirate-themed levels.
Nice.
So I mean, for $10.49, pretty good deal.
That's awesome. Very cool. Right on. And Jesse, what about you, man? Have you been playing anything?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Layton's mystery journey, Catriel and the Millionaire's Conspiracy. Josh talked about it a little bit last week, but I was able to get more time. Was that? No, Roger, right?
Oh yeah.
Roger, sorry.
Don't let them know that you mix them up. Even though they're basically the same person, right?
Yeah, right. So
just kidding, guys. Don't.
So I've gotten further into the game, so I want to kind of talk a little bit about it. I put out a tweet saying either I'm getting really good at these games, or the writing isn't as good as they usually are. Because this game is normally in the Layton games, there's one big overarching plot. And as the story goes on, it just gets weirder and weirder. But this one seems to be broken up into smaller little pieces. Each case takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to solve. Anyway, so I said in my tweet that I figured out what was going on around midway through the second case, and in case 3, almost as soon as it started, I guessed at what was going to happen, and I was right. So the story isn't as unpredictable as I'm used to in a Layton game. And another thing that this game does that I'm not exactly a fan of is in previous Layton games, if you go as the story moves on, you go from location to location, and sometimes we'll never get a chance to go back to previous locations. So if you miss the puzzle, this one NPC will collect the puzzles that you missed and then still present them to you, so you can still go back and solve them. So you can eventually, if there's no puzzle that's missable, you'll have access to it. Here, they give you the ability to go back into cases you've already solved to catch the missing puzzles and the missing hint coins that you did miss. In addition, they add additional puzzles to the case after you solved it. So there's no way to get all of the puzzles before solving the case, because you have to finish solving the case and then go back into it. So you got to go back into it twice, pretty much, at least, in order to catch everything. So I've solved the first 5 cases and have gone back and to 100% them all, except for I think on the last puzzle of the case 5 going into it. And if I read right, there was 12 cases in total. Then still hoping for some hidden overarching gotcha near the end, but I'm kind of starting to have my doubts that that's going to happen. So, but I still plan on continuing it and seeing where the game takes me. Yeah, the first 4 cases you have to do one after another, and then one they don't even give you the ability to go back and hit previous cases until you finish the 4th one. But at that point, then it unlocks cases 5 through 8 that you can pick and choose which one you want, and you can do them in any order. So I imagine once I do the next 4, then the last 4 will present themselves.
Very cool. Right on, man. Well, very interesting. See, I've never really had success with Layton games before, but I don't know. That's very cool.
Oh, one other thing that I did, in note and put a lot of tweets on during the second case is, and I don't remember previous Layton games doing this, but there's a lot of punny character names. Ace Attorney does it all the time, and I expect it from them. But Layton did it. There's like 4 or 5 characters that are punny, and they just seem to get worse and worse every time they introduce a new one. I'm like, no, stop it. Just let me finish this case so I can go on.
That's awesome. Great. Right on, man. Well, we've got one quick email to round out the show, and it's getting a little late, but let's power through it and just get it done. All right, and of course, the listener mail is brought to you by us. Yeah, OneUpBox.com. Use Nintendo Dads and as your code, and you will get 3 months off your first box. And
$3, not 3 months.
Sure, three, 2. 3 months from your life,
something
will be sucked away, and you will never know. You just know that you died
3 months off your life.
Okay, so we've got Nintendo Dads. It's awesome. You know our friends over at OneUpBox.com giving us all sorts of good stuff. So thank you to them. Hey, Nintendo Dads. This is Jose Alejandro Buendia. Yes. Hey, Nintendo Dads, after the success of Cuphead and its art design, would you guys want the developers of Cuphead to make the next 2D Mario game with the same 1930s cartoon art? I, for one, would love to see Mario and his crew drawn as 1930s cartoons. I think it would breathe new life into Mario's lackluster 2D design of the new Super Mario games. Don't worry, guys. I've already asked the experts if we ran Nintendo, so they're on the case. But I figured I'll ask a few regular old Nintendo dads. Whoa! I don't like the way we're being treated here. Anyways.
Well, they do. I mean, look. Can we be honest? They do have that really, really slick new intro to their show.
They do. Yeah, they do. And you know what? I'm kind of
jealous.
I am jealous, but sometimes, I don't know. Maybe they're just compensating for something. That's all I'm saying. Shots fired. I'm just kidding.
Is that your professional opinion?
No, I don't. Not text, but we'll see.
I love the end of this email, by the way. Be sure you include that.
Oh yeah, he says, I'm writing this from an airport parking lot, so this question is important.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's very cool. So
can I speak to this, because I've been playing Cuphead.
Oh.
Because I recently dove back into the world of Xbox thanks to a great deal that I found locally on a 1S. So the first game that I went to find was, well, besides my old 360 arcade games like Castle Crashers, thank God I can play Castle Crashers again. It was like going home. Man, Cuphead is so good. And it's just as difficult as everybody says it is, but it's so good. And I would kill for this studio to release a Mario game done this way. A stylized take on new Super, like not just the necessarily the new Super Mario Brothers way of doing things, but just like let somebody, either a studio, is it Studio MDHR, I believe is their name, either let them loose on it or let somebody else have it. Yes. It's so good. Like down from like the opening title screen has a barbershop quartet singing a song about Cuphead and Mugman.
That's awesome.
It's so good. Like, have you ever seen any of those old Disney cartoons?
Oh, of course.
Where and I'm talking like the 1930s, 40s Disney cartoons where like things might be just a little bit politically incorrect, and you know, everybody's smoking on cigars and all kinds of stuff. That is what Cuphead looks like.
Oh yeah, dude.
They put like the grainy film footage type thing in, and it's super good.
One of my favorite ones of those is an old cartoon. I don't know if you know it. It's an old cartoon. It's called Small Fry. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
Yeah, I think I have.
It's like Small Fry. Anyways.
Yes.
Right. It's so good.
And it's right up that alley. Would you play this?
I think I would. Yeah. I don't know if for me, my only objection to it is a very sort of like on principle, don't you dare sully Mario with that. But I would be interested enough in it that I would give it a shot. Yeah. I just don't know that if I were at Nintendo and it came across my desk, if I would approve it. You know what I mean? Like just on like the spirit of the, like, I don't know how well those two mash together, but I would be interested enough to see like this weird alternate universe where Mario came up was created in the early days of like Walt Disney Animation and those sorts of things. That would be.
What if it was Mario's adventures in New York before he went to the Mushroom Kingdom?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And it was done like that. And it was done in like 1930s New York.
That would be very cool. Yeah,
okay.
I'd be down for that. I can get behind. You've got to justify it, and that is a good enough justification for me. Absolutely.
Maybe a little Mario prequel there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. I'm sold. Let's do it, Nintendo.
Retell the story of Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
you remember the Game Boy Donkey Kong that came out that was like it expanded out from that original Donkey Kong. If they did that with these graphics, oh my gosh.
Do it, Nintendo. Let's make it happen.
Please.
So I'd be up for it. Let's do it. Bring it on.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Jose, for the question, and thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to the show. It is Justin had to duck out, but it's been a good show, and I appreciate everybody. You guys, we have the best listeners. Like,
absolutely.
Can we just say that you guys are amazing? Thank you for tuning in again. So, Marty, as we round out the show, what should people be aware of?
Okay, well, two things. Again, Zach's already mentioned this once. Metroid Prime is our next Retro Rewind game. So download that on the Wii or the eShop on Wii U. The Wii version of Metroid Prime Trilogy is there. Or just play it on your GameCube if you want to do that. That's pretty much the only way you can get it. So be playing that. We'll be recording that later on in November. Also, Retro Rewind is changing a little bit, so be sure to listen to this newest episode of Retro Rewind Castlevania 3 to find out more about that. And then Extra Life is coming up in November, and we have an Extra Life team that we would love for you to join and be a part of if you'd like to do that. Extra Life, can be found at extra-life.org. And you can go over and just search Nintendo Dads, and you can join our team there and help us raise money to help kids. And this year, I'll actually be doing a 24-hour live stream of games that I'm going to play. I'm actually, firming up some plans right now, but plans include playing through the entire NES Mega Man trilogy on the NES Classic. I'm also going to make an attempt to play some Jackbox games Definitely going to include some Mario Odyssey and probably do some other things. Lots of surprises. And I think we're going to be giving away some prizes, right, Zach?
Yes, we are. So you guys check that business out because that's going to be awesome.
And so by donating to our Extra Life, you'll be entered in a raffle to win some pretty sweet prizes coming up. So look for details on that within the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Right on. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that just about rounds out the show. So, gents, it's been a pleasure, and see you next week. Right on. It's been fun. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Nintendo Dads podcast. If you want to follow us on all of the social medias, you can do so on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. If you want to email us, you can do so nintendodads@gmail.com. If you want to watch our videos, you look for us on Twitch or YouTube. Just put in Nintendo Dads. You will find us. Subscribe to us over there. We've got reviews. Our YouTube especially, we've been hitting that pretty hard, so go and check that out. It's going to be a good time. I promise you. If you want to call in and leave us a voicemail, leave poor Mildred something to do, pick up that phone, 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Huge thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to both Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our amazing artwork. And, of course, if you want to change the world, go over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better. And, of course, if you want to subscribe, you can go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and, of course, VGTribune.com. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for Marty, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
It's
never
late.
fails.
It's late. It's these